footsteps of Jesus' entire 3-year ministry in just 1 week. But it wasn't until day 7 that I truly found what I was looking for. This is the where Jesus was baptized. As I came up out of these waters, I thought about how long it had been since I was baptized. I think I was 5 years old when I got dunked. I've known about Jesus since, well, forever. Did I really know him? 2,000 years ago, people traveled from all over to get dunked in these muddy waters. It was a way to show the world that the bad, sinful version of yourself died, and a better version had emerged. I felt like a new man. But was that why Jesus got baptized here? It just seems weird to me that a sinless man would need to get baptized. Alright, I just got changed. Now we're heading to the car to get to our next location. This was a weird place for Jesus to visit, but where Jesus went next was even more strange. Well, immediately after Jesus was baptized, he would have been driven into this wilderness where he was tempted by Satan for 40 days. So quiet here. Well, there's literally nothing here. This is just purely barren wilderness. But not only is it barren, it's also extremely hot because the elevation here is over 1,000 feet below sea level, quite literally making this region the lowest point on planet Earth. So why did Jesus come here? And how did he survive 40 days in the wilderness without food? I've only been here for 40 minutes and I already can't stop thinking about Chick-fil-A. The truth is that in order to survive the heat, Jesus probably walked to a different part of the wilderness just 10 miles from here. You'll see why when we get there. But as we were on our way, our driver Allah shared some devastating news about one of the locations we're supposed to visit today, Samaria.
Yesterday, we made exchange fire with some Palestinian soldiers.
There was people shooting at each other?
Yeah, people shooting at the soldiers on the border. So that's why he said, don't take a risk, I was not going to send you.
Samaria is the place where Jesus went out of his way to meet a very sinful woman who was drawing water from a local well. But what's crazy is that this well is still there today. Out of all the locations we're visiting this week, this one might be the most important because archaeologists have verified that this well is the same ancient well where Jesus met the Samaritan woman. Which means if we can somehow get to this well, we can confidently stand in the same exact place Jesus stood over 2,000 years ago. But today, it's located inside the city of Nablus, where tensions are high and safety is a real concern. But if you know me, I'm not easily deterred. Maybe we can go to the well in a couple days when the shooting clears up. Yeah, our chances of getting there were not looking so good. But we'll have to figure that out later, because look at this.
We're literally driving up the Mount of Temptation.
This mountain, located just outside the ancient city of Jericho, is where most people believe Jesus stayed during his 40-day fast in the wilderness.
So are we on the edge? Can you open your door right there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As we made our way up this mountain, I started to see why Jesus would have come here. It's because of all of the caves. There are so many caves here, the locals have even made a game of chucking rocks into them.
Whoa. So this is like one of the caves that Jesus would have literally slept. He would have literally like laid down right here and gone to sleep in one of these caves.
These caves would have provided protection from the sun, which Jesus needed in order to survive a 40-day fast in the desert. There's even a natural spring not far from here where Jesus could have gone to get water. But still, 40 days without food is really pushing the limits of the human body. After just the first 24 hours of the fast, the body starts to use up its sugar storage, making you hungry and irritable. By day 3, your stored sugar is gone, so your body starts to burn fat and energy. This is also when hunger pains really start to hit, and you start thinking about what you'd be willing to do for a spicy chicken sandwich. Sorry, anyways. By the end of the first week, your body is mostly running on fat, but there's a problem. Your body also needs protein, which it starts to take from the muscles. And by the end of the second week, you're more than hungry, you're starving. Day by day, you get weaker and weaker as your body basically consumes itself for energy until around days 30 through 40 when it starts to shut down. Jesus would have been skin and bones at this point, with hardly any energy to even move. But this is exactly when the Bible says the devil appeared to Jesus.
There was a stone, and the devil tempted Jesus and told him to use his power to turn this stone into bread. But Jesus denied that temptation.
But when that didn't work, the devil tried a different temptation. The Bible says the devil took Jesus on a high mountain where he showed him the kingdoms of the world. And this just so happens to be the tallest mountain in the region. He told Jesus, "All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." But Jesus told the devil to go away, and the angels came to his aid. Now there was one more temptation that I didn't mention because it actually takes place on the Temple Mount, a location we're going to try to visit later in the week, although I've heard it's not always easy to get access to. But honestly, at this point, I'm thinking, what in the world was Jesus doing here in no man's land? I mean, the Bible literally says that after Jesus got baptized over here, the heavens opened and the audible voice of God said, "This is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased." So then, if you're the Son of God, why put yourself through all this pain for 40 days? Maybe I'll find the answer to my question at our next location. The Bible says that shortly after his time in the wilderness, Jesus traveled back to his hometown in Nazareth, the place where he grew up as a kid and spent most of his life. The truth is that the journey to Nazareth from here is mostly uphill through lots of slopes, which is why it would have taken Jesus at least 4 days to get there on foot. But we only have a week to travel to all the locations he did. And even with the car, it's still unlikely that we'll make it to Jesus' tomb by the end of the week. This is why we need to make a quick stop inside the ancient city of Jericho before we go to Nazareth. We need to see this. So this is a sycamore tree inside of Jericho, and this tree apparently is like thousands of years old, which means it could have been possible that this is the exact sycamore tree that Zacchaeus climbed when he was trying to hear Jesus teach. So big, I want to climb it. The Bible says that Zacchaeus was a chief tax collector and very rich, but the Jews